Welcome back. You're watching Roundtable, and we are with Mr. S.L. Gunasekara, attorney at law. And we, in the second half of the roundtable, we touched upon the foreign policy, and we specially referred to the relations we were having with the West and also countries like China. And what he said was, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So based, and he also said, like, not as a foreign policy expert, but as from a pragmatic and practical angle, Mr. S.L. Gunasekara was arguing that people need, any state should not intervene in others' matters, and what is important is to lend a helping hand when the relations are going and when there is actually a need. So it is when the West turned against us in providing arms and giving aids to continuation of the war that we had to approach countries who were willing to assist us. So that was his take on the relations with with foreign countries, and he said that not to bow down to any foreign force, whether it be India or anything, and he said that is why he respects the present president so much. Speaking on development, he thinks that development has to be based on the need of the country and not on the voter base and based on the number of votes the political party will get, and the development process that is unraveling now is unprecedented and something he has not seen in his lifespan. Speaking of the public sector, he said the public sector appointments has to be based on merit, and there has to be a monitoring system. For the private sector, it is again it has to be delivered more efficiently. So those are the aspects that he touched upon in the second aspect of the roundtable. And Mr. Gunasekara, now we will go on to more of a rights aspect, because you are also attorney at law who is appearing to many rights-based cases as well. So the freedom of expression, and also that the competing right with that is again another competing right is public order and interest of the public, and also not disrupt the stability of the society. And in this particular context, there has been incidents that has been unraveling in the present situation. So what is your take on this situation?
Well, I don't see how the freedom of expression can impinge on the rights of the individual, because there are laws which forbid defamation, which make defamation a culpable act for which damages can be sought. But in a sense, I think the journalists will be up in arms against me when I say this, that I think it was wrong to revoke in its entirety the section of the penal code relating to criminal defamation. What I believe is that criminal defamation had to be there with certain limitations, such as the definition of criminal defamation should be such as to make it some kind of atrox or very severe defamation over and above civil defamation, and to take away the need for the Attorney General's sanction to institute prosecution for criminal defamation, because criminal defamation provides a remedy to the individual against being defamed without having to spend outrageous sums of money and to be in court for an inordinately long period of time and to undergo the tension, the pain, the expense incumbent upon that. But apart from that, we have had a rather healthy system of criticism, where those in power realized that they are subject to criticism and did not take criticism as enmity. But this happy state of affairs, I think, ended with Jaya Jayawardena's government, when even men like because it was in, I think, especially in Jayawardena's time, that any kind of dissent were looked on as enmity. So even very honorable stalwarts of that party, like M.D.A. Jayawardena, had to leave the party because they disagreed with Jayawardena. Had to give up I know they left the party, but had to give up his portfolio. One of the most honorable ministers one could have found. So from there, it went rapidly down the Gadrin slope, and today criticism of the leadership, be it of the government or an opposition party, has become like treason. Now, if you take there was a person, I think, in down south who spoke his mind, Muthu Hettigama, I think, after provincial council elections, when two people were imported to the south from Colombo for no conceivable reason. I mean, The Provincial Council election supposed to be for the people from the south. And 2 candidates were imported there from Colombo and installed. And Muthu Hettigama objected. Now he was hounded. Why? Surely he had the right. And I don't concur with many of the things that Muthu Hettigama did. But I admire him for his independence, for the courage he had to call a spade a spade. It is something that is sorely lacking. And I think that more and more people must exercise the freedom of expression and face whatever consequences there will be faced for doing it. Because unless we do that, we become a nation of sniveling sycophants. And sycophancy, to my mind, is a bigger threat to the stability and well-being of our country than terrorism. And sycophancy, what we see today, I have no doubt that many of those who supported Fonseca will now be queuing up outside temple trees to curry favor with the government, and would have been the other way around if Fonseca had won. And if you look at the post, there were a lot of talk about these cutouts and things. They are put up by sycophants. You can see it, because you find a huge cutout showing the president's face, and at the bottom a small face of some little politician who have put that poster up, who have put that cutout up. A small picture to show, well, I am the man who put this up. So now look at me with favor, give me a pat on the head, give me some reward for it. That is one of the biggest problems that we face in this country, these miserable sycophants. And the way to get over that is for those who are not sycophants to speak their mind, regardless of consequences. But if we keep on fearing consequences, this country will not be what it used to be or what we want it to be.
So now today is like the Independence Day. So what can you tell to people, especially the young generation, about how, as you are saying, how can they revive this spirit of independence to express themselves and not to fear the consequences? I mean, it is easy to say when you are in a position like that, but it is not easy for everybody to do it, yes. Isn't it?
It's not easy to say when you are rather old and about to peg off, right? But it may be difficult when you are in the prime of life and trying to go up the ladder. But that has to be done.
But how? How do you say? How can
I
somebody
think
revive the spirit
that
of
those who are, shall we say, in the evening of their lives, must give the lead, must take those risks and face the consequences. And it is only then that those who are younger can follow. If we only preach and don't set the example, then those who are younger will not follow, and they might even follow those miserable political, I don't know what to call them, scoundrels who put up posters saying Maharajanini and so on to curry favor with the president, and just spoil his name also.
And also, if you take freedom of expression but without limits, will be detrimental to society in cases of some instances where it might destabilize the public order, and especially sort of say, for example, spreading rumors as in freedom of expression, and those rumors sort of can tarnish the image of Sri Lanka in the eyes of the international community as well. So where do one draw the line between these two balancing interests?
Yeah. Well, that the law is there. For example, as civil law defamation, the law relating to sedition, the law relating to and there should be a law relating to criminal defamation. Those laws can be used, but I certainly admit that the freedom of expression can be abused to the extent of tarnishing the country's image abroad. Now, that's not an offence, unfortunately. That should be made an offence. Now, for example, making a false accusation that Gotabaya Rajapaksa ordered Savendra Silva to go and shoot some people who came to surrender, that I think was an unforgivable, treacherous statement, for which there can be no forgiveness in this life or the next if there is one. Because that was definitely a statement that tarnished the image of our country and tarnished it badly.
So what you're saying is though these are competing rights, that sort of balancing act has to be done, and people need to be aware when they're exercising their spirit of independence.
Because the country must come first, and nothing anyone says or does should be designed to or be capable of or result in harm being caused to the country, because ultimately you and I don't matter, Rajapaksa and Fonseca don't matter. What matters is the country and only the